That chorus is just so catchy. What a freaking chorus. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so good. What? What's up, friends? Today we're checking out Blackpink's second studio album, Born Pink. I've been pretty excited about this album. Blackpink's been having their comeback this summer, and it's cool to see them kind of dive back into the K-pop industry, offering new things that we haven't necessarily heard before while staying true to their core sound. The producers on this album are 24, Ito, Par, RT, and of course, Teddy. You can't have a Blackpink album without Teddy, am I right? We're going to be looking at this album from the perspective of a songwriter and producer. So, Pink Venom is the first track on the album. I just love that bass riff on the chorus so much. It's so bouncy and good. It's such a transition going from these really hard drums in the verse. Something I noticed this time that I hadn't noticed on previous listens is that it starts and ends kind of the same way. You know, they have the Blackpink, which I think is just a good way to kind of start an album, is with that, you know, chant of the group name. It sounds like a good way to start a concert too, honestly, because you can get the whole crowd chanting Blackpink for a long period of time. And it makes for a good, like, beginning and ending of the song as well. This is really the Jennie and Lisa song. You know, they're really shining on these verses and in the choruses. The vocals from Jisoo and Rosé are also excellent. Really great belts coming out of both of them. The rapping, though, is the highlight of this track for me. I think it's some of the best verses that we've heard from Lisa and from Jennie. Yeah, no complaints on this one. Really cool production. Love the bass lines. Shutdown's next up. I absolutely love it when groups use classical music as either a sample or an interpolation. So I love hearing Paganini's Campanella as kind of the core sample for this song. It sounds dope. The pairing of drums, 808s, and the core sample is so just ingenious. And the flows on it are really interesting as well. I love how they mention the campanella in the chorus. They say campanelli. It's so cool. It's so sick. Yeah, I love the use of interpolation or sample of classical music. I just think it's such a fun way to enhance a song, and I think K-pop's doing it really good right now with Red Velvet's song and then now Shutdown. Also, I've done it a lot. I have an album called Giovanni and another album called Popera where I interpolate classic opera tunes and make them kind of new and fresh. And on the song La Donna, I sampled La Donna Immobile from Rigoletto and did a very similar thing to that. So it's cool to hear famous group doing it. It's cool to hear that this is like a catching thing to use classical music in as samples for hip-hop. I think it just sounds so cool. It sounds so epic. They'd have just such great qualities to them. Everyone sounded great on this song too. Just really showcased everyone. Type of Girls next. Didn't know that you were cold till you found my fire. Heaven's gate just open up. That synth in the intro and the pre-chorus reminds me so much of Rugrats. Which is hilarious, but so cool. It sounds so good. Just such a great pairing of vocal hooks with the instrumental hook. I'm the type of girl that make you forget you have a type of girl. Oh, so good. Blow that candle out. Type of girl that you wanna take back to your mama house. Type of girl. There's such a great contrast between the synths in this song. Some of them sound so like light and fun, and then some of them are just intense and just getting at you, really like signy sounding synths. It's cool. That song is so clever. I love all the different like types of girl situations they make. They're kind of funny and fun and interesting. Yeah, good song. Very sing-alongable. I like that they have vocal hooks that are just kind of syllable vowel things, just no real words used. I think Blackpink does a good job of understanding their audience and understanding that, that's going to be part of the draw. Also, I'm hearing a lot of English on this album, which was a little bit unexpected, but it's working well for them. You've seen BTS do it a lot recently too, and I think it's just becoming more and more of a trend in K-pop to capture a larger percentage of that American audience. This one sounds great. Really like the hooks. I like the moments when the vocal cuts off for a second and the instrumental kind of finishes the phrase. I think that works really well. It's a great way to like kind of capture you in. Like, you're hearing the vocal, it's very continuous because it's a hip hop type flow, and then when it cuts off, it almost surprises us. We're like, oh yeah. And then it does this cool little riff at the end of the phrase. Quick pause. Please subscribe. Please, pretty please. Yeah, yeah, yeah is next up. Very 80s influence, but really taking kind of the best parts of the 80s. I like the more live sounding bass riff in the verse, and then switch up into synth sounding bass in the chorus. It's cool. That chorus hook is just so brilliant. I like that the instrumental is taking center stage. It's something we've heard a lot from Blackpink. First time in this album so far, so that's cool. First song on the album that's really focused in on sung vocals. Pays off well. Has a great 80s synth pop sound. And I love how they kind of remix the primary instrumental hook for the outro. It sounds sick. It's very dancey and very fun. In general, that instrumental hook is just really cool. Some of my favorite vocals from Rosé on this album so far. There's just these nice subtle cracks she does in her vocal that seem so tender and kind of contrast that power and that vulnerability that she can display in her range. It's like every song from this album is my new favorite. When I heard Pink Venom, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite song on the album. Then I hear Shutdown, I'm like, oh, no, this is my new favorite song. I hear Type of Girl, I'm like, oh, no, this is my new favorite song on the album. And now I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, this is even better. It just keeps getting better and better, in my opinion. Hard to Love is next up. That chorus is just so catchy. What a freaking chorus. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so good. What? I love the pairing of electric guitars with electronic drums. It just works really, really well on this song. They found just the perfect drum to pair with that electric guitar. That kick, especially, just hits the right thump, That song ends perfectly. It doesn't give us too much of the ending hook. It just kind of lets it fade, kind of held in suspense. Just makes you want to listen to it again. Wow. This album is seriously an album where every song is my new favorite song from the album. It's so good. That song is excellent. I really loved Rosé's vocal on that song. That chorus is genius. It's such a love. It's such a great way to balance vocals and instrumentation. Very Blackpink sounding song. Very Rosé centric. I mean, maybe I'm just like misidentifying the vocals, but it sounded like Rosé was taking the lion's share of that song, but she sounded excellent on it. I mean, Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, Teddy's really showing off on that song too. Very classic. It's weird how classically Blackpink it sounds, and yet it's a Rosé song. It's basically just a Rosé solo song. Probably one of the best solo songs I've heard. That and La Lisa. I love La Lisa. That song's dope. Solo's cool too. They've got a lot of good solo songs, honestly. Okay, The Happiest Girl is next up.
I can't stop the tears if I want to. I can't stop. the tears if I want to. I can't.
The vocal layering on the I Can't Stop the Tears If I Want To is so cool. It sounds just so pristine, in sync. Syllables are lining up really well.
But tonight I'll be the happiest girl in the.
Really nice, subtle strings building into this primarily piano-driven song. Also like the subtle pitch correction on their vocals. It creates a really nice tone.
I'll be the happiest girl in the world.
There's a lot of things I like about that song. I like the first, 3/4 of that song a ton. I think the development is really good. I think the chorus is incredibly catchy. Also, the I Can't Stop the Tears If I Want To. All the vocal performances are really excellent. Good, almost like fan service song, almost saying like, hey, because of you, we're so happy. Interesting writing, good melodies. I didn't love the ending. I just thought that snare was a little dry for how much reverb was on the rest of the instruments. And then it could have done with a more reverby snare. But that's really my only criticism. Besides that, I think the production was really cool. I thought it builded in a nice way, and I thought the vocal performances captured were excellent, and they were corrected in really subtle ways that helped boost the pristine K-pop quality of the piece. Tally's next up.
Everybody tells me to play nice. Everybody just been looking twice.
Such a great blend of organic and electronic instrumentation, with those electric guitars really taking center stage, and then that kind of hip-hop drum vibe, the very electronic drums, has a nice contrast to it.
Told me to play it cool, I break the rules, I'm breaking hearts in two. Want me to make the rules, so play the fool.
Those strings on the second verse with the hip-hop vocal, really wall of sound, like the whole frequency spectrum is taken up in a nice way.
And I ain't gonna conceal it. I'll just do it like the boys say. I'm getting mine.
I liked the bitter female empowerment vibe that this song gave off. Kind of reminded me of like a Halsey or Alanis Morissette in that sense. I also like how they used the instrumental, like more atmospheric pieces, like the strings, and then they had some more electronic sounding synths, more like electric guitar type synths that kind of built on the more staccato sounds of the electric guitar comparatively. Yeah, it had a nice way of kind of swelling the song in these interesting moments, and then they'd take that away and it'd create this nice contrast. Ready for Love is the last song on the album, so let's check it out.
It's taking blue. Yeah. 넌 도대체 몇 번을 내 맘.
I like how they contrast the vocal hooks in the verse, like leading up to that chorus. They have these moments when it's nice and slow and broody, and then it goes a little bit faster rhythmically.
Tell me when you're ready, 'cause I'm already ready.
Song is so danceable in that chorus. That hook is just fire, and then the way that they make a lot of the vocals very singable, very easy to sing. It's nice.
Here I come and I'm running like a snail. I never know if you wanted what it love wasn't what it was supposed to be. What if this?
That second verse is probably the best, like, Lisa verse throughout this album. Just really showing off her talent and her flow on that song. It just sounds nice. It's just a good fit for her. Good way to end the album. Very celebratory, very big, nice messaging. And there was a nice kind of contrast in the emotional quality, you know. During the verses, there's more despair, like, oh, maybe this isn't going to work out. And then the chorus is like, I'm ready for love. And it's like, bring it on. Like, I'm ready to try again type of feel. Very triumphant in terms of instrumental builds. Really like that hook. It's a great instrumental hook in that chorus. I think Teddy comes up with some of the best instrumental hooks in the game. I actually like that song more hearing it without watching the music video. I didn't love that music video just because I didn't love that kind of animated quality they did to it. It didn't come off quite right for me. I don't know if other people feel that way, but for me it wasn't just like quite right. But I really like that song. I think it's very strong song. I would say that and Hard to Love and Yeah 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 are probably my 3 favorite on this album. After kind of listening through all of them, Type of Girl's really cool too. Yeah, the 6th and 7th tracks weren't my favorite. They still worked. I still think they are like non-skip tracks. They're just probably on the lower edge of what I liked on this album. Overall, it's great. It's really tight, you know? It feels like they cut out any of the fluff and really stuck to those core components of what they wanted out of their album. Great vocal performances from everyone, especially Rosé on Hard to Love. Like, what the crap? She just carried that song all on her own, which, I mean, I'm interested to hear what it would have sounded like with more vocalists on it, but maybe they just recorded with Rosé, tried other vocalists coming in at different points, and it just didn't fit as well as having Rosé sing all the way through. I don't really know the story on that song. I'd be interested to hear it. A lot of those songs I would want on a dance playlist. If I was just, you know, DJing a dance, I would definitely put like Ready for Love and maybe Yeah Yeah Yeah, maybe Hard to Love on that dance playlist. They're very danceable. They're very fun. Even Pink Venom. Pink Venom's has that nice like groove. You can kind of get down to that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it added some insight into your listening experience. Hope it enhanced your enjoyment of the album in some way. If you liked this video, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Also, please check out my music. I've got an album called Giovanni that very much fits in the vibes of this album. You can find that here. And that's it. Catch you on the flip.
All the shawties getting rowdy, Maseratis making money, la-di-da-di-da, parties in the sun.